Welcome to What is a Safe Environment? So where are we going? We're going to follow the yellow brick road, my friends. And again, before when I was saying we have to reform DEI or it's going to get canceled, then guess what? It happened. You see, last year, 2024, when I'm saying all this stuff, I'm getting like, yeah. And business as usual. Well, guess what? Your ship just got blown up everywhere. Okay? Now guess what? You don't have any choice now, pal. You don't have any choice now. You have to change. That's what you got to do. So where are we going? Is it safe? Is it safe? Are you making it safe? Are you making it safe for all people? Is it safe for someone to come to work who happens to be a Satanist? Are they safe if they happen to be white? Are they safe if they happen to be transgender? And I'll tell you, going into the future, since there are 1.4 jobs out there for every unemployed person who is looking for work, actively looking for work, if you do not adopt a safe environment for your people, I want you to look through your towns as you drive through. In the next 5 to 10 years, about 20% of all those companies are not going to be there. They're not going to be there because they didn't have the people to hire. The baby boomers are dying and retiring, and there are not nearly as many people under the age of 30 coming in to take those jobs. You are not going to have the people to do it. And guess what? You're going to get boycotted by some group if you decide to continue your DEI or if you take it out and blow it up entirely. No. We want a safe environment. Now, you have too many programs. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I want you to take several of your programs, combine them all into a safe culture program. A safe environment for all humans. Okay? Now, what's a culture? It's a set of values that govern you. They govern you. This is how we live our life. This is how we do it. We require excellence. Okay? Like Walmart. What is your culture? Cheap stuff. Cheap stuff. Come on in, get your plastic crap, and get out. What is the culture at Nordstrom? Oh, over the top type of service. Those are the cultural values. Your cultural values, it's safe. So what are some of the key principles of our Safe Culture program? Do you agree? We are all human beings. Do you agree? One person is equal to one person. Do you agree? Racism and bigotry are wrong, no matter who is doing it. Do you agree? Everyone should be purposefully included in your safe culture. Do you agree? You should not use illegal tactics in your organization. Do you agree? No one should be attacked, bullied, discriminated against, or stereotyped. Do you agree? Everyone should be able to go to work every day in an environment that is safe. Now, is your environment safe? All these different people They're all different. Is it safe for all of them to come to work in your environment? That's what a safe culture is. So let's look at the building blocks. First and foremost, everything is part of this safe culture. What is part of that? Harassment and bullying. Don't have a separate harassment and bullying program. That's part of your safe culture. And guess what? That's also part of your safety program. And everybody's got some kind of safety program, particularly after COVID. Sometimes it's just for germs. Sometimes it is for lifting. Sometimes it's lockout, tag out, so you don't get electrocuted. That's always good, not to get electrocuted. Something for your fingers and toes. But guess what else it is? Prevention of workplace violence. Yes, we live in tremendously violent workplaces with about 2 million. Yeah, that's about 36 to 38,000 physical assaults every week in American workplaces. If you have a bullying, harassing, or intolerant work environment, you're going to have workplace violence. Absolutely. And health and wellness. We're going to look at that. What's that mean? It means if you work in an intolerant workplace, if it's not safe, it is killing you. It is giving you mental disorders at a rapid rate, and it is doubling your chance of premature death. It is 40% worse than smoking. And I'll tell you, if we had someone in your office light up a cigarette and just start smoking, oh my gosh, oh, you're smoking, you're trying to kill everybody. All right. Well, I like smokers. I mean, smokers are very polite. They will turn their head, blow the smoke away. What's a bully do? Or a racist, or a bigot, or an intolerant person? Oh, they come over and just blow all of this distress right into your face, and it kills you. So let's look at these individually here. Now, if we were going to start a new safety program, and I think you can see here that we need to have a safety program here. All right, something's going terribly wrong. So what are we going to do? First and foremost, we're going to discover the problems. We're going to take a look all throughout the organization and try to spot maybe a few little things that are going wrong that we really need to improve upon. So we got to take a hard look at ourselves. Then, well, we've got to train. We got to train people, all right? Like, don't do things like this. Do things like that. That's what you got to do. You got to train people. Then you have to coach them and correct mistakes, because people will make mistakes, right? You don't fire somebody for making one mistake. Well, maybe this one, I don't know. But you got to coach people and coach them and correct them, because people do make mistakes. Then you advertise it and reinforce it throughout the entire organization. It is constantly put in front of us because this is our culture. This is how we live. And you make it part of everyday culture. You live it. People understand that this is who you are, and it is critical. Harassment and bullying. All right. Harassment and bullying is out of control in this country, and everyone is a victim. Everyone. So, what is your great tie-in here? First and foremost, everything is part of this safe culture. What is part of that? Harassment and bullying. Don't have a separate harassment and bullying program. That's part of your safe culture. And guess what? That's also part of your safety program. And everybody's got some kind of safety program, particularly after COVID. Sometimes it's just for germs. Sometimes it is for lifting. Sometimes it's lockout, tag out, so you don't get electrocuted. That's always good, not to get electrocuted. Something for your fingers and toes. But guess what else it is? Prevention of workplace violence. Yes, we live in tremendously violent workplaces with about 2 million. Yeah, that's about 36 to 38,000 physical assaults every week in American workplaces. If you have a bullying, harassing, or intolerant work environment, you're going to have workplace violence. Absolutely. And health and wellness. We're going to look at that. What's that mean? It means if you work in an intolerant workplace, if it's not safe, it is killing you. It is giving you mental disorders at a rapid rate, and it is doubling your chance of premature death. It is 40% worse than smoking. And I'll tell you, if we had someone in your office light up a cigarette and just start smoking, oh my gosh, oh, you're smoking, you're trying to kill everybody. All right. Well, I like smokers. I mean, smokers are very polite. They will turn their head, blow the smoke away. What's a bully do? Or a racist, or a bigot, or an intolerant person? Oh, they come over and just blow all of this distress right into your face, and it kills you. So let's look at these individually here. So what is part of that? Violence prevention. Now, I always heard these people say, well, yeah, we've done ALICE training. Well, okay, that's great, because if a shooter shows up, you want to keep the body count as low as possible. And chances are really good if a shooter shows up, somebody's going to get maimed for life or killed. Okay, that's just what's going to happen. No. If I have a toxic work environment, and if I have employees that are going around bullying each other, you're going to have workplace violence. That is a given. That is a statistical fact from OSHA. So what do? We've got to have a good anti-bullying, anti-violence policy. And what's that mean? It means bullying is an act of violence. Now, I'm going to look at this here in a second to show you, yes, bullying somebody is going to kill you. You wish you got a club in the head. Okay, so are your supervisors trained? Are your supervisors trained to step up and coach somebody who is threatening people or yelling? Yelling at somebody is an act of violence. Absolutely, and I get all that from OSHA. So if someone comes in and says, oh, well, this is really DEI, I say, no, I got this right from OSHA. This is your violence prevention. It's part of your, well, we're not going to call it DEI, but it's diversity. And why do we have violence? Because people disagree. People attack people who are different. So that's diversity. And it's also diversity of ideas. I've got more fights breaking out in organizations because one person's a Democrat, one person's a Republican, one person is pro-life, one person is pro-choice. It goes on and on and on. Grow up. This is, I'll tell you, we enforce our diversity because that leads to violence. So this is your violence prevention program. Then let's look at something that is going to scare the bejeebies out of your people. I do a lot of safety conferences everywhere. Okay, I've done a lot of them. Well, I don't go in and talk about your fingers and toes and all this other stuff. What do I talk about? I talk about your body. I talk about your brain. If you live and work 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day in a toxic work environment, you are going to die young. And you're going to be miserable in the meantime. So let me tip my hand here. Man, this is how I get buy-in. I get buy-in. You want buy-in like you've never had before? You show them this stuff. So, how does an intolerant, unsafe work environment kill you? And I'm not speaking figuratively. I'm speaking literally. Well, this is you. Some of you have seen this before. I use this a lot. You are attacked by another human being. Okay? Now, understand that's the worst thing that could possibly happen to you. Someone's yelling at you, screaming at you. Oh, and understand, do you understand? This is why cancel culture is violence. Put it this way, if a Klansman comes up to you and beats you with a stick, that's violence. If someone cancels you because you use the wrong pronoun, because you maybe said something that offended somebody, which doesn't take too much today, and you get canceled, your gut is going to flare up. Okay? If you lose your keys, your gut's going to flare up. And those are those little adrenal glands sitting on top of your kidneys. But your body knows that your keys or losing your cell phone isn't going to kill you. That other human being might. So guess what? You're releasing massive amounts of adrenaline and cortisol. 3 times the cortisol and adrenaline when that distress comes from another human being. That's what's happening to this little girl. Little bit of adrenaline and cortisol is a good thing, but flooding your body will kill you. It will kill you. I want good environments, okay, where we get Oxytocin, where you've come to work and you just loved it. Oxytocin is released into your body. That's the happiness drug. Dopamine is the motivation drug. Serotonin directly cures depression. Endorphins are painkillers. And telomerase. Telomerase surrounds all those strands of DNA and helps them grow back. Yes, you're getting younger. It reverses the aging process. That's what we want in a safe environment. Now let's take a look and see what's happening. First of all, when you flood your body with massive amounts of adrenaline and cortisol, one of your immune systems is inflammation. So if you twist your ankle is going to inflame. Why? Because it's going to inflame and it's going to keep other pathogens out. It does that to protect it. So when you're flooding your body with all this adrenaline and cortisol because you work in a hellhole, your entire body swells. Yes, your whole body swells. This is why your hair falls out. Because the blood supply is getting cut off to the hair follicles because your whole body is swelling. This is why you get rashes, okay? And you're flooding your body with all this adrenaline and cortisol. That starts to destroy your intestinal lining. Now, this is Dr. Ron Siegel, Harvard Medical School. Everybody's heard of Harvard, right? Harvard, that's up there. That's a pretty good school, right? Okay. 80% of all of our doctor's visits are actually distress related. Chronic neck and back, gastrointestinal, headaches, insomnia, sexual dysfunctioning. Oh my gosh. And let me tell you, we always knew that all this distress would exacerbate your diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, MS. We have now discovered that this swelling of the entire body can give you those conditions. Let me tell you right now, this cancel culture, I have 6 friends in the last 14 months, 6, who have gone out on disability leave, disability pay because of all this distress. They are contracting very serious conditions. One of them has paralyzed the nerves in her left face, the left side of her face. Okay? Her neurologist told her, well, yeah, this was all the distress you were experiencing at your last job. That's what has happened to you. And she says, what do we do about that? Well, there's not too much we can do about it. Okay. You want to work in that environment? Are you starting to feel motivated that I wish I'd have reformed DEI a few years ago. This would have been a lot easier. Can't do that now. Oh, and smoking. Smoking. We treat smokers like lepers. Oh my gosh. Pretty soon we'll just shoot them on sight. All right? Well, I got news for you, folks. I love the smokers. Smoking has a mortality factor of 1.6. What that means is if you smoke, your chance of premature death has just increased by 60%. That's what that means. All right. Chronic ongoing distress, particularly from your job because you're there all the time, most of the time, has a mortality factor of 2. It doubles your chance of premature death. Yeah, it's 40% worse than smoking. It's a death sentence. And of course, you knew I was going with this. Anybody who's heard me before, is your environment safe for your brain? Is it safe for your brain? Now, I know a lot of you have seen this before. That is my brain in 2008, severely damaged, burned by all the distress and abuse in my life. And all those red spots, okay, they're burning 15 to 20% hotter. Now, the big red spot, the cerebellum at the bottom, that's good. You want that as red as you can get it. But everything in blue is the baseline temperature. That's what you want. Nice, cool. All right? You actually read these scans like as if they were car engines. All right, so you want your car engine to run cool. You don't want it to run hot because it's going to overheat on you. All right, so just good test for you right here. If you were going to choose one of these car engines to put into your car, which one would you pick? The one on the left or the one on the right? You want the one on the right, because that is my brain in 2020, 85% cured. Cured, not medicated, cured. Do you know that our workplaces are so bad today that 70 to 80% of all Americans say they are miserable when they go to work? Ah, no. And look what this does. 30% of everyone you know has post-traumatic stress disorder, active. This is why you do not flip people off when they cut you off in traffic. What are the chances they're going to shoot you? Actually, pretty good. Actually, the crazier they drive, stay away from them. Now, I show these slides to my clients, and since 80% of them sitting in the audience are on multiple psychiatric medications, and only 20% of them are on the right ones, we are going to talk wellness and look to see what your people are asking for. People today are begging for mental health training and safe work environments. The problem is when we talk about mental health, we don't talk about the brain. You got to talk about the brain if you're going to talk mental health, because ergo, it's your brain. This is like talking about a broken ankle. You're just going to talk about the pain. You're not going to talk about the bone. Well, that's what we call stupid. Yeah, most of your mental health training is just a waste of time. But I tell you, do you have a safe environment, or is somebody going to go crazy working for you? And if that has not gotten your attention, do you want Alzheimer's? Let me tell you right now, this study is amazing. Think about it. If you smoked for 40 years, 30 years, would you be surprised if you got lung cancer? No. You kind of asked for it, actually. Well, guess what? All of this constant distress, that cortisol and adrenaline flooding your brain, causes Alzheimer's cells to grow. Alzheimer's is expected to triple in the next 20 years. And I'll tell you, speaking from experience, you can't hardly get somebody into a secured Alzheimer's facility now. Oh, let me tell you, have I gotten your attention? I'd get your employees' attention. So what do we do now? We create a safe environment.